What's up, y'all? You know what time it is. It's about to be that time.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
I might just be a pothole in the road to you, Big Mom, but I'm gonna make sure it's one heck of a deep pothole. Damned Brook!
Savage.
And we're back. One Piece. 1040 is out. We're in a new digit. And speaking of new digits, 20,000 subscribers. Thank you. Thank you everybody that hit that red button, and a big, big flashing subtle reminder that that button exists. YouTube things, all right? You want to join us here? Go ahead, all right? This was a monumental chapter. All right, a Yonko went down. Literally, life alert button was pushed. I am falling and I cannot get up.
Mama.
When you fall and cannot get up, an accident can turn into a tragedy. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
This is Life Alert. Are you okay?
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Savage.
Big Mom will get up. Right? Maybe with the help of her children, right? Beaver cards are, very prevalent in her story. In Whole Cake, Lola set up in Thriller Bark. It's very possible that that's the role that her kids play. They finally get onto the mainland, they follow the Beaver card, and they find Big Mom. All right. There's also the possibility that that's Parasparrow's role once he gets up after his, little beatdown. There's the potential for that. Right? This had all of the elements of the struggle that I've been waiting for. I just wish it came a little before. I think the choreography of the fight was better in 1039, but this was so necessary, okay? When everybody else was, going down in 2 chapters, for Oda to spend this ridiculous amount of time when he's been skipping past so much stuff, right? But for him to spend this excessive amount of time to just showing Big Mom clinging to life, holding on, and deciding, no, I'm not going in that hole. And then Kid, like Tien in Dragon Ball Z, fighting Cell, saying, yes, you're staying in that hole. You're going down. Ha! Can she heal herself like she did in the previous chapter by using part of her lifespan to bring her bones back together, or maybe her skin? She just T-1000s herself and globs back together. But if she can do that, then, Mother Carmel should have done that too. I'll see myself out. Law is crazy, though. Law is crazy. This man just pulled an entire fruit's powers out of his ass. That's just absurd. It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful. They don't call it the OP no Mi for nothing. But I mean, come on. How are you doing all of what an entire fruit could do within your own fruit?
Maybe while he was on the island after Corazon died, he walked back and found Corazon's fruit and he ate it, right? I mean, when Corazon did his silence techniques, it was like he put up a room. Maybe Law has had 2 fruits this entire time. Maybe Law was the first person that we ever saw with 2 fruits, right? Because Blackbeard didn't get a second fruit until he went to Marineford and ate. But we met Law in the archipelago, and he was already doing rooms, right? Maybe the Obi Obi no Mi is everything that's inside of the room, but the actual room is part of Corazon's fruit.
I don't actually believe that. I'm just joking, guys. Someone's gonna take that and say, Randy thinks Law has 2 fruits. I don't. But, I guess maybe. You know, nothing really could be ruled out. 2 fruits, you know, dying, that's just a suggestion. That's just the black label on the, you know, the pack of cigarettes. It's just, we don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know how your body chemistry is gonna understand working within these 2 fruits, so we just advise against it. But you can do it. Maybe. One little detail that I do really love about this is that if you go back to the Law and Corazon flashback, when Corazon is demonstrating his power for Law, Law calls it a stupid and useless power. Now this is also while Corazon is demonstrating it by using an RPG to create an explosion. Now here we have Law replicating Corazon's power and then using it to also silence an explosion. Oda. I'm still disappointed that Big Mom didn't get a hit in with misery. But, you know, that's the definition of misery, right? Not getting what you want. But that panel, though, of Law cutting misery in half, the composition there is just one of Oda's best panels, and the colorization that Woden Creative did is like it's a chef's kiss. Like really, some of their best work for sure. Like the usage of, you know, the yellows, the purples, the oranges, like it's all very balanced color wise. But I mean, we're talking about Oda, right? Look at the actual just balance of the composition. You have Kid on top, you've got Law in the middle, splitting misery, Big Mom beneath him. It's so perfect. It's like it's telling the whole story there. I just wanted misery to just do some damage, all right? But what this showed was truly the endurance of a Yonko, that they are not to be messed with. It actually wasn't even Kid and Law that took out Big Mom. I mean, yes, it was. But realistically, if she is being incapacitated, it's because that little nuke that fell with her also went down. So with all of this Corazon stuff, we have a new version of Law's room, similar to how we have the K room, or Kuromu, right? Which seems to have a tie to chrome or chromium, right? Which might also be a science joke by Oda, because chromium is a anti-ferromagnetic metal, which means that it has a weird relationship with magnetic fields. Chromium is only magnetic at a certain temperature, which could be like a subtle joke by Oda, you know, kind of how Law and Kid have this Sanji and Zoro relationship where they're, you know, constantly bickering. But here we have the R room, or the Re room, and it came up in the chat by David, right, that the word for calm, right, which Corazon has the calm fruit, in German, which most of Law's attacks have been in German, starts with the letter R. Now, it is not pronounced the same, but it is an interesting thing to note. In previous arcs, there's usually always this moment where the citizens kind of get hip to what's going on, right? Skypiea with the Raizo, everybody on the boats, they're trying to escape. Dressrosa, all of the people with the, with the birdcage, they were all running away. They all know Doflamingo's a piece of garbage. At the end of Alabasta, everybody sees Crocodile rise from the bedrock. There's a bunch of examples. Arlong Park, like in front of all of the people, they see it fall. Fishman Island, the Noah, you know, crashing down. What are they going to do, right? So it makes sense to me by previous accounts that Oda would have a moment where the townspeople of Wano look and they see this giant island is about to, you know, come and crush them, right? So then they have to scramble and try and get away. But Law putting this silence around the explosion is kind of like Oda saying, no, these guys have been through enough. We're just going to let them enjoy their night, and they're never going to know what transpired this night. And that's an interesting flip of Oda's, previous expectations that he set for us. Which makes me think that there is a chance now that they never see Onigashima, or they don't realize anything until Onigashima's already landed in that barren wasteland. Falls into the crater, something like that. Otherwise, what's the point of Law silencing that whole part? There's certainly something to be said about Big Mom's monologue, right? I mean, it's such a chunk of the chapter, and it's one of Big Mom's best moments, easily. She's falling, she's cursing Kid-in-Law, but she is mostly cursing Roger for creating the Great Pirate Era, right? Because had he not, then Big Mom would not be in this situation, falling through a hole in Onigashima into a crater on Wano mainland, right? Because there would have never been a Luffy, and she would have never come to Wano, but she's not cursing Luffy, she's just blaming Kid-in-Law. But she's also lamenting on the One Piece. What is it? Where is it? Not just lamenting on the fact that she doesn't know anything about it, and may never will. And I think that that's sort of the realization that's coming to her. But she promises that she'll be back. This is not a fake out death. We already know she's coming back. So get ready for that, guys. And this is a storytelling technique that Oda is employing here, right? You create this massive threat that, there's no way around it. You don't understand what's going on, right? You remove them from the situation, which allows the protagonists to progress in the story in a linear fashion towards their goal, right? Then you bring that threat back after now they've learned something, and then maybe they can deal with it. And if they can't, then you find a new way to get that threat out of the way so that the protagonists can progress further and then maybe get what they need to take care of that threat. Big Mom is getting pushed to the side to make way for the main attraction here, Luffy versus Kaido. So we're going to be focusing a little more on that as well. But there's also going to be a lot, and I mean a lot, capital L, capital O, capital T, of emphasis on Orochi's downfall as well. Okay, because he is just as, if not more important, more villainous than Kaido, more at fault with the citizens of Wano, right? So I wouldn't even be surprised if Orochi gets taken out after Kaido, and that he is the top villain of all of this. It makes sense to me if they get taken out around the same time, and at which time Big Mom could come back and be devastating, similar to how Kuma was at the end of Thriller Bark. CP0 could also play that role as well, or even Vegapunk if he's on those government ships. CP0 I see not going down here in Wano at all, but that they will be part of the catalyst that takes us onto the next part of our journey, the next island, what have you. And if that means that they do actually get Robin, then, hey, they might actually get Robin. Personally, I would prefer a scenario where Robin's strong friends that she talked about in the Whale Tree, that she was so sure would protect her, will protect her. Now, that's not to say that Robin won't get captured again at all. I still think that Blackbeard is probably the most likely candidate, because Oda has already set up Aokiji, Kuzan, within the ranks of Blackbeard, which opens a friend for her to confide in, someone to protect her in that situation if the Straw Hats weren't there. Big Mom's coming back at the end of the arc, or she's playing a role in a different one, okay? Sorry for everybody that's got Big Mom fatigue. You just gotta get over it. Now, what's going on with Kazenbo, all right? Did Big Mom blowing up that one bomb, did that dissipate Kazenbo? Or are they now a little mini soul that's on its way to find Orochi, right? Or did it fall with Big Mom? Or does what's going on with Kazenbo have anything to do with Big Mom's soul Pocus? Because the way the Kazenbo is floating up kind of looks like that as well. Now, the other reason why I'm hanging on to Kazenbo probably not being done is because if Kazenbo gets taken out this way, then there really is no story relevance or purpose to ever having Kazenbo in the first place. It would have never have been of consequence, right? It would have just been a plot device to get Yamato to the basement and to sort of create some extra chaos to kind of move the pieces around. And Oda's a better writer than that, so I'm going to hold him to a higher standard and assume that Kazenbo still has a role to play. Because there could have been anything that caused all of this. Should have just let Kanjuro die if this is the way Kazenbo was going to go out, personally. But Randy, it potentially took out Big Mom. We don't know that. We don't. The bomb went off because Big Mom stuck her hand in there. This is something that could have happened if Yamato wasn't even there and there was no Kazenbo. It still would have happened because the bombs were still in the basement. Big Mom being sent down there had nothing to do with Kazenbo. And we don't see Kazenbo falling with her, so I'm just like, what is the purpose of this? I need more context, all right? And speaking of life alerts and falling and can't get up, what is going on with Zoro? That boy looking dead. He looking dead. Did this man make a deal with the Reaper? Personally, I still feel like he made a deal back in Thriller Bark. You know, like, hey, look, I've got to see my dream out. I've got to see Luffy's dream out. Come and get me after that. Like, that'd be crazy. Kuma said, I'm going to send you to hell. And then Zoro is just sitting there bloodied and says nothing happened. But Brook saw it. Brook saw it. All right. And Brook is tied to the Underworld, 3D2Y, and even said that he, traveled there. Right? So it exists. Also, I'm going to take a W for saying that the Grim Reaper was not Brook, which was confirmed here.
Another one.
When Oda does a cliffhanger like that, it sort of drags for chapters until you finally get an answer, or maybe you don't. Gags, they get answered immediately. Oda obviously wants this Grim Reaper thing to be something very significant, very serious. All right, we're dealing with some serious stuff here, guys. Speaking of serious stuff, Raizo versus Fukurokuju. It's done, all right? The Heat on Feet boys.
Bro, look, he got the heat on feet,
They finished their fight. Or so it would seem. There wasn't a Oda box calling Raizo the winner or anything, but Fukurokuju, he's on the floor. Someone please give Raizo some medical attention. He's not built for the fire feat. He's not built for it, but he held his own. All of the vignettes were great. We got to see a little bit of Hiyori and Orochi, which is what I expected this chapter. I wanted some more. We did get a little update on Robin and Brook, but I would call it negligible. It's just sort of a geography update and a confirmation that Brook is not the Grim Reaper. But this Hiyori element is interesting, right? Because the only times that we've ever seen Hiyori put on the mask to play her shamisen usually is when an act is about to end. So, that was brought up in the stream by Wheezy Bird, and I thought it was interesting. I mean, I'm done speculating on when the act is going to end. When it ends, it ends. But, that is a good sign. How is Zoro going to get out of this is one of the big questions, because he is in a blink and miss panel falling off of Onigashima. Okay? I don't think he's going to land on mainland Wano. I think that's out, because that would... Zoro's pretty durable, but that's quite the fall. I can buy Big Mom getting back up, but I don't know about Zoro. So someone's got to save him. Frankie, we know, is obviously on his way to find Zoro. He could extend his arm, do a strong right, and with the chain arm, pull Zoro back. if he's got enough give on that chain. If Hiyori is actually a pheasant, she could fly and pick him up. Or maybe that's a job for Marco. Maybe that's what he's supposed to do. He already has flown and taken Zoro to the rooftop, so pulling him back from falling off of Onigashima would be a fun parallel. There's precedence for it. Would be cool if Marco brought Zoro to Hiyori and Orochi, so that he can be a part of that whole scene and that segment, especially if Kazenbo is already on its way to find Orochi. That could be an interesting way to sort of tie some things together. The end of the chapter. Yamato and Momonosuke. Now, it seems like the information that Momonosuke is giving Yamato is something that they're not aware of. Yamato has read the journal front to back, knows that Zunesha is the elephant, right? But I feel like Momonosuke is giving Yamato new information by saying that Zunesha was JoyBoy's companion. This could have been something that Momonosuke learned while talking to Zunesha before leaving Zo. So Momonosuke has just been sitting on this information for a little bit. Or maybe something that they read in the journal kind of sparked something in that conversation. I do want to get a little bit of a taste, a little bit of a flashback to what Momonosuke and Zunesha talked about, what Momonosuke did on Zo before coming to Wano. I want that.
Now, since Momonosuke can communicate with Zunesha, and no one else can, does that make Momonosuke the new companion to Zunesha? And by way of that, the new JoyBoy.
But I don't think that we're going to get any sort of JoyBoy answers in the next chapter. If we do, amazing. Oda's track record would tell us that we are going to go to something else. Now, there, you read a chapter and, most of the time you can look at the last page and you can kind of figure out, are we coming back into this scene? Like the end of the last chapter, Kid shooting Big Mom. Yes, of course, we're going to start this chapter with Kid, Law, and Big Mom again. Okay, just to kind of get the epilogue on that. But when Oda does these dons at the end of the chapter, we usually go to something else. So I think we're going to start probably with Luffy and Kaido in 1041. We still need an update on Nami and Tama. I would love to actually spend some time in dialogue with Hiyori and Orochi and Robin and Brook. But we'll see. I think one of the most important things that needs to get wrapped up in 1041 is actually Zoro falling, okay? Because that's not something where, 3 chapters from now, we're going to buy that Zoro is still falling, okay? He's going to get rescued in the next chapter somehow, whether that's by Marco, by Frankie, whatever. He's going to land on some other part of Onigashima, and it'll be even harder for him to find. Momonosuke could spot him and see him, and maybe that saving Zoro also sort of makes him lose his concentration with all of the flame clouds, and suddenly we're getting a little closer. And that's going to do it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out, for being here, for supporting. 20,000 subscribers still is crazy to me. I love it. Thank you so much. To all the members, thank you again, as always, for supporting the channel. Particularly, we have Fable, who upgraded this week. We had a bunch of people that rejoined. DJ Red Comet 369, Bow Blankenship, To Sights 318, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Red Hood 52, and Trey Bird. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget, we're Twitching now, okay? It's happening. Me and Chrissy. Twitch.tv/Randy Troy. Twitch.tv/Chrissy Varley. Catch us over there. We're still streaming every week here. We're going to do another Theory for Theory this week because we have a break, right? So I'm trying to lock in a guest for either Friday or Saturday. The time might be different. It's all dependent on the guest when it comes to these break weeks now. So stay tuned to the community posts. I'll see you guys later.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.